Daniel chapter 6. It pleased Darius to appoint over the reign 120 viceroys to be over all the reign, and over them 3 governors, of whom Dani'eel was one, so that these viceroys should give account to them, and the sovereign suffer no loss. Then this Dani'eel distinguished himself above the governors and viceroys, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the sovereign planned to appoint him over all the reign. Then the governors and viceroys sought to find occasion against Dani'eel concerning the reign, but they were unable to find occasion or corruption, because he was steadfast, and no negligence or corruption was found in him. Then these men said, "We shall not find any occasion against this Dani'eel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his Allah." Then these governors and viceroys tumultuously gathered before the sovereign, and said this to him: "Sovereign Darius, live forever. All the governors of the reign, the nobles and viceroys, the counselors and advisers, have consulted together to establish a royal decree and to make a strong interdict, that whoever petitions any Allah or man for 30 days except you, O sovereign, is thrown into the den of lions. Now, O sovereign, establish the interdict and sign the writing, so that it is not to be changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not pass away." So sovereign Darius signed the written interdict. And Dani'eel, when he knew that the writing was signed, went home, and in his upper room, with his windows open toward Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his Allah as he had done before. Then these men tumultuously gathered and found Dani'eel praying and entreating before his Allah. Then they approached the sovereign and spoke concerning the sovereign's interdict. "Have you not signed an interdict that every man who petitions any Allah or man within 30 days, except you, O sovereign, is thrown into the den of lions?" The sovereign answered and said, "The word is certain according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which does not pass away." Then they answered and said before the sovereign, "Dani'eel, who was one of the sons of the exile from Yehuda, pays no heed to you, O sovereign, nor for the interdict that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day." Then the sovereign, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself, and set his heart on Dani'eel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men tumultuously gathered before the sovereign, and said to the sovereign, "Know, O sovereign, that it is the law of the Medes and Persians that any interdict or decree which the sovereign establishes is not to be changed." Then the sovereign gave orders, and they brought Dani'eel and threw him into the den of lions. But the sovereign spoke and said to Dani'eel, "Your Allah, whom you serve continually, he himself delivers you." And a stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the sovereign sealed it with his own signet, and with the signets of his great men, that the situation concerning Dani'eel might not be changed. And the sovereign went to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no entertainment was brought before him, and his sleep fled from him. Then the sovereign rose up very early in the morning, and hurried to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he called with a grieved voice to Dani'eel. The sovereign spoke and said to Dani'eel, "Dani'eel, servant of the living Allah, has your Allah, whom you serve continually, been able to deliver you from the lions?" Then Dani'eel said to the sovereign, "O sovereign, live forever. My Allah has sent his messenger and has shut the lions' mouths, and they did not harm me, because I was found innocent before him, and also before you, O sovereign. I have done no harm." Then the sovereign was very glad, and gave orders that Dani'eel be taken up out of the den. And Dani'eel was taken up out of the den, and no harm was found on him, because he entrusted in his Allah. And the sovereign gave orders, and they brought those men who had accused Dani'eel, and they threw them, their children, and their wives into the den of lions. And the lions overpowered them, and broke all their bones in pieces before they reached the floor of the den. Then sovereign Darius wrote to all peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, "Peace be increased to you. From before me is made a decree that throughout every rule of my reign, men are to tremble and fear before the Allah of Dani'eel, for he is the living Allah and steadfast forever, And his reign is one which is not destroyed, and his rule is unto the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in the heavens and on earth. For he has delivered Dani'eel from the power of the lions. And this Dani'eel prospered in the reign of Darius, and in the reign of Koresh the Persian.